Whoa. Hello, everybody. I didn't go live the last couple days. I have had a really difficult, challenging, emotional couple of days, and I honestly just didn't feel like I had time or space to go live. And I am trying to really honor who I am and how I'm feeling, and trying not to abandon myself in these moments of feeling like I need to push through or provide something. And so I just didn't. But I'm here now. And I think that what I'm about to share is really important. And so if you're here with me live, please let me know. If you're here with me on the replay, please let me know. Leave me a comment. You're getting a window into my personal world, as you often do on my lives. And yeah, don't mind my my cough and my breathing. I'm almost better. I am headed to the doctor today just to make sure there's not anything more that we can do. But I definitely feel fine. I just am a little nasally and a little coffee. Is that I have a little cough. Anyway. Okay, let's talk about this. Sorry, I have a... Okay. I want to talk about what came up in therapy today, and just because I really do think it's relevant to a lot of the women that I talk to, and I think it's actually just like this missing piece that some of us might need to hear about self-care. So I think most of you know my stance about self-care is that, like, it's not really the bubble baths and the massages and that kind of thing. Like, all that stuff is lovely and all that stuff is needed. But a lot of times self-care is like, what can we actually do for ourselves? And sometimes that is, making the appointment and keeping the appointment and carving out that time. Like, that is a big part of it. But also, like, what can we just do for ourselves? And so the reason this came up in therapy was because we're also doing relationship coaching right now. And like 2 months ago, when we started this relationship coaching, my coach was like, hey, I need you to find 2 hours a week that are just for you. And that is non-productive time. Like, you can't do anything productive during that time. And I was like, okay. And then I never did that. And so finally this week, she messaged me and was like, hey, I need you to start with 15 minutes. Just start with 15 minutes. Find 15 minutes for yourself this week that is completely non-productive. Now, this is really challenging for me because my brain is always working. Everything, like even my therapy session, has turned into something that I'm sharing with you. So I was like, how do I find 15 minutes of non-productive time? And so last night I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit down and I'm just going to breathe. And right away my brain started thinking about all these things that I could be doing, or that I forgot to do, or I had a good idea for something. And I was really frustrated because I was like, I know this is important. I teach about this every day. I know that I'm not doing enough that is like just for myself. Like, I'm doing a lot in our marriage. Like, we have really conscious time in our marriage. I have really conscious time with Ellie, but I've really lost this like element of conscious time with myself. And this is just so incredibly important. And I think a lot of us throw this on the back burner. So I brought this to my therapist today and I said, I'm really frustrated because I've been given this challenge for 15 minutes and I can't even do the 15 minutes. And so this is kind of what she said to me, okay? She said, a lot of us are technically doing self-care, but we're not actually receiving it. Okay, so we go for a walk, but the whole time we're thinking about what we should be doing at home. Or we take a bath, but we feel guilty for taking too long, or we're answering emails in the bathtub, or if you're me, you're having like amazing ideas in the bathtub and writing them down. right? Or we spend the time and we go to a class, but our mind is on the laundry and the emails and the kids and the mess and the meals and the texts we didn't answer and all the things. So our body is there, but we're not really there. And then we think self-care isn't really working. So why am I wasting time doing the self-care? Because the self-care is not working if we're mentally apologizing for it the entire time. Right? So we're like, self-care, schmelf-care. I'm not doing the self-care because I don't actually get anything out of it. And I think this is a place that a lot of us come to, and I know that I'm really struggling with it right now because it's like, well, 15 minutes for myself. Do you know what I could get done in 15 minutes if I wasn't just being with myself? So, what I have decided for myself is that self-care cannot just be a vague idea of, well, I should do something for myself. Because guess what? Vague self-care is easy to cancel. I canceled it all day yesterday, and then it got to be like 11:30 last night, and I was like, maybe I can take 15 minutes right now. Didn't happen. So it has to be defined. So what am I actually doing? What am I actually going to do in that self-care? Plan it out. It has to be scheduled. When am I actually going to do it? Put it in like an appointment, non-negotiable. This is happening, and I can't do anything else while it's happening. And I think this is actually the beautiful thing about going for massages, going for acupuncture, going for whatever, because like when you go do that, you can't actually physically be somewhere else, but your mind still can be, which is why we sometimes think self-care doesn't work, because we're like, our mind. Our mind is still traveling outside of the experience that you are trying to have, so you're not fully receiving it. Okay? So it has to be defined, it has to be scheduled, and then it has to be protected. So what are you not available for during that time? For me, that's going to be stuff like, I'm not available for new ideas. I'm not available for working. I'm not available for answering emails. I'm not available for remembering all the things I forgot to do today, or for shaming myself for all the things I didn't get done. Right? And then the key, the really important thing, is that it has to be connected to something that is really important. And that is, what does this give me? What does this provide for me? Because if we don't know what it gives us, we're just going to treat it like an extra. We're going to treat it like a nice thing that we might get to do if everybody else is okay. If the house is clean, if the work is done, if the messages are answered, if nobody needs anything from you. But that is how self-care becomes an afterthought. And we don't need afterthought self-care anymore. We need real self-care that goes in the calendar, that is ours, that is not squeezed into these like leftover scraps of the day that we have. It's the kind that lets us feel something. So what does self-care give you? And this is the question my therapist asked me today. She said, you said you used to be really good at self-care. Why did you do that, and what did it give you? And I thought this was a really brilliant question because I have not thought about this for 14 months. And what I said to her is, I said, when I do this specific type of self-care that I do, I said, it's like I get a whole new day. I said, if I do, 30 minutes of this breathwork practice, I come out of that practice feeling like I'm getting a whole entire new day, and I feel way more productive. She was like, great. She's like, so do you hear what you're saying? If you pause and you give yourself this self-care, you're actually going to be way more productive. And I was like, yes, I know. I talk about this all the time. I teach about it. It's like why I created Self-Love Summer. It's like why I teach the things that I teach in my women's circle. Like, I get it. We're more productive if we take care of ourselves. And she's like, yeah, but I need you to like get it. Like, get it here. You have to get it here. In your heart, in your body. if I take this time for myself, I'm going to feel better. And then even more than that, I'm going to take this time for myself because I deserve to take this time for myself. Period. Okay. So I do have a lot more to say about this, but I think I want to leave it here for now. But I do want to just say, like, this is part of the reason that I created Self-Love Summer, because you buy the package and then it's scheduled in. You have all the workshops, you have all the classes, you have the personal development program with me where we're going to be talking about this stuff. I'm going to bring my real life into it. I am not a teacher who sits here and pretends that I'm all healed, pretends like I have it all together, because let me tell you, I do not. And I actually think that makes me a better teacher, a better facilitator, and ultimately a better leader, because I am willing to say, I need to work on this. I made a mistake. Whatever. Yeah, and I'm proud to say that about myself. But this is why I created Self-Love Summer, because let's schedule it in. Let's make it intentional. Let's bring ourselves into the present moment and take our mind off of all the other things that are going on around you, because you deserve to feel better. You deserve the self-care, and you deserve this time with yourself. You deserve this time in community with other people. And a lot of people are like, well, what if I can't come to all the things? Like, I feel like I'm going to take up somebody's spot if I don't come to all the things. I feel like I'm gone too much this summer. I feel like, and I'm like, no, like, this is for you. I've made it so affordable that if you miss half of it, you are still doing really well. Right? Because I just want Self-Love Summer to be a place for all of us in our real life to come back to ourselves in the middle of our, like, busy, messy, full, beautiful lives that we have. And, she asked me the question. She said, you say you have this program called Self-Love Summer. She's like, do you get something out of Self-Love Summer? And I was like, I absolutely do. I say, I get a lot of the facilitating. Like, I do a lot of the facilitating, but the time in community and the conversations that we have and the realizations that we have and the experiences we have together, I get so much from that. And yeah, it's just such a beautiful thing. So if you take nothing else from this today, or if you're just tuning in now, self-care needs to be defined, and it needs to be present moment. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm not available for anything else. I'm walking right now. I'm resting right now. I'm in this class right now. I'm taking care of myself right now. I'm breathing right now. I'm meditating right now. And please don't let it be the thing that you do when you're already at the end of your rope. And if you're there right now, you have to start somewhere. But self-care should be this, like, it's like a vitamin that we take every day versus taking an emergency Advil when something goes wrong. Right? So what is one form of self-care that you keep saying you need, but you have not actually given yourself? And what would it change if it wasn't optional anymore? Like, what would change in your life if you were just like, this self-care is no longer optional? Because you matter in your own schedule too. And it's not that you matter more than anybody else, but you also don't matter less than anybody else. And that is really the key here. I also wrote my wrap up for Enough Actually today, and this is the main message. You don't matter more, but you don't matter less. You are worthy. You were born worthy. We were all born with the same measure of worth. and you deserve real self-care. Not as an afterthought, not as a reward, but as something that you choose for yourself, you protect, and you let yourself receive. And with that being said, that's what I'm going to go do right now before I have lunch, is some self-care. And what that looks like for me is going into my room, closing the blackout curtains, putting on some music, and doing some conscious connected breath work. So I hope you see this as an invitation to finding more self-care for yourself. But of course, you are also invited to Self-Love Summer. And we start on Saturday, and I would love more women to join us. So if you have any questions or you have any concerns, objections, just send me a message, send the page a message. I mean, I'm not going to answer for at least half an hour, but send us a message and we'll see what we can do for you. See what questions we can answer. But like, it starts at $52 bi-weekly. That's pretty affordable for self-care in today's day and age. But if you just need some other ideas of things you can do at home, shoot me a message too. I'm happy to answer those things as well. So, weird how the universe works. I was just messaging you earlier about Self-Love Summer and signing up because I had read an email at work talking about scheduling self-care time. Wow, okay, so universe is lining up in a lot of different ways right now. If you're just popping on, I highly recommend that you just come back and watch the replay. You can even watch me on 2 times fast. But I do believe this message is important, that we really define self-care and take time for ourselves where we are fully present in the experience, or else it's just something else that we are checking off a list saying, I did that. But did you really do it? Did you really make yourself matter during that time? Okay. Have a beautiful day. I might talk to you later. I feel like I'm going to be really pumped after I finish my Enough Actually series tonight because holy man, has it been beautiful. But all right. Have a good day.